I'm starting this awesome and very useful series, one I believe every sincere spiritual seeker needs to hear. Whether you were raised Hindu, grew up Christian, or you're simply trying to understand what this life is actually about, this journey is for you. Over the next 50 videos, we're going to do something rare. Compare two of the world's deepest spiritual worldviews with honesty, respect, and zero cheap shots. No mockery, no straw men, just a serious conversation about what humans are, what's gone wrong with us, and how anyone can find lasting peace. This is what Hindus are missing, and it's also about what every human soul is searching for. Every spiritual tradition, at its core, answers one question: what is the fundamental human problem, and how do we fix it? Hindu philosophy offers sophisticated answers spanning thousands of years. The Bible offers a radically different diagnosis. Before we compare conclusions, we need to understand starting points. The Upanishads teach that ultimate reality, Brahman, is hidden within us, obscured by ignorance, avidya. Genesis teaches that humanity was made for relationship with a personal God, and that trust in Him was broken. These are not minor variations. They are opposite directions on the same map. This series exists to walk both paths carefully and help you decide which one matches reality. The first path says the divine is already inside you. According to this view, central to much of Hindu thought, especially the Upanishads and the path of Gyan Yoga, your individual self, Atma, is ultimately one with ultimate reality, Brahman. The problem is not that you lack something outside yourself. The problem is avidya, ignorance. You simply don't realize who you truly are. Liberation, moksha, comes through awakening. Meditation, disciplined inquiry, guidance from a guru, and the gradual dissolution of false identity. The journey moves inward. The Chandogya Upanishad puts it famously: Tattvamasi, that thou art. You are that. You always were. You just forgot. The second path says the problem is not ignorance of your own divinity. It is the self placing itself at the center. According to this view, human beings are not the ultimate reality. The deepest truth exists beyond the self, not inside it as your own essence. Spiritual transformation requires humility, surrender, and trust in a reality greater than yourself. Even within Hinduism, Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, and Prapatti, complete surrender, move in this direction. The Bhagavad Gita's climax, chapter 18, verse 66, calls Arjun to abandon all other duties and surrender exclusively to Krishna. Mamekam sharanam vraj, take refuge in me alone. The journey moves away from self-centrality towards something or someone greater. Here is the difference in one sentence. One path says the self must be realized. The other says the self must be surrendered. One believes enlightenment comes from discovering the divine within. The other believes transformation comes from letting go of the self and aligning with a reality beyond it. These perspectives are roughly 180 degrees apart. They cannot both be fully true. A seeker who honestly examines human nature, our ego, our suffering, our history, our inability to fix ourselves, must eventually choose which diagnosis makes more sense. This series will not pretend the choice doesn't matter. It will help you make it with eyes open. Let me be clear about what this series will not do. We will not mock Hindu festivals, ridicule temple worship, or treat a billion people's faith as superstition. Hindu civilization produced profound philosophy, ethical systems, poetry, and spiritual disciplines that have shaped human history. The concepts of dharma, righteous duty, karma, moral causation, sansar, the cycle of birth and death, and moksha, liberation, deserve to be taught accurately. before a single critique is offered. Whether you follow Shankar's non-dualism or Ramanuja's devotional theism, you will hear your tradition represented fairly. Respect is not optional here. It is the precondition for honest conversation. This series is built on a biblical framework, specifically a relational understanding of God revealed most clearly in Jesus. Scripture teaches that God is personal, not impersonal. He sees, hears, grieves, and pursues. Exodus 3:7-8. Sin is primarily broken trust and relational rupture, not hidden divinity waiting to be discovered. Genesis 3:8. Humans bear God's tselem, image in Hebrew. We are relational counterparts made for connection, not divine essences waiting to be awakened. Genesis 1:27. Jesus forgave before repentance was complete. Luke 7:47, revealing a God whose forgiveness flows from character, not from ritual payment or accumulated merit across lifetimes. Every biblical argument in this series will be read through what Jesus reveals about God's nature. This series unfolds in 9 phases across 50 videos. We begin with the two-path framework. No tradition named yet, just honest worldview logic. Then we teach Hindu thought accurately. Brahman, Atma, Maya, Karma, the 3 yogas. Then we introduce the biblical alternative through Jesus. Then we test the inward path against human nature, suffering, and history. We examine Hindu practices, meditation, Karma Yoga, Bhakti, Puja, through a relational lens. Then we go deep into the Bhagavad Gita, chapters 2, 11, and 18, and into the Vedas and Upanishads at source text level. The final 3 videos synthesize everything and invite a decision. You will always know where we are and where we're going. Fair representation in this series does not mean pretending all paths lead to the same place. It means 3 things. First, we teach each worldview on its own terms before evaluating it. Second, we cite primary sources, Gita chapter and verse, Upanishadic passages, Vedic hymns, not second-hand summaries. Third, we argue honestly without caricature. When the Bhagavad Gita teaches that the self is immortal and not born nor dying, Gita 2.20, we will quote it accurately. When the Bible teaches that God walked in the garden with Adam, Genesis 3:8, the Hebrew mythalect suggests habitual, intimate presence, we will quote it accurately. Then, and only then, we compare. I will not hide where this series lands. This is a Christian teaching series with a defined conclusion. I believe the path of self-realization, discovering divinity within the self, misdiagnoses the human problem and leads somewhere dangerous. I believe the path of surrender to the ultimate God, as revealed in Jesus, is the true path to restored relationship, forgiveness, and liberation. That conviction is not a surprise ending. I'm telling you now at the beginning so you can watch with full awareness. My goal is not to trick you into agreement. My goal is to argue fairly, respect you fully, and let the evidence speak, knowing that God genuinely offers salvation to every person and that you can truly respond or resist. No one is predetermined. The invitation is real. One image will recur throughout this series. Resourcefulness, discipline, meditation, selfless action, moral effort is valuable. It is like a tool. A hammer builds a house. A meditation practice can calm the mind. Karma Yoga can redirect selfish energy towards service. But a tool cannot become the foundation of existence. A tool cannot be worthy of worship if the self itself needs transformation, and both traditions agree something is wrong with us, then the answer cannot come from the self alone. The resource is not the same as resourcefulness. This series will ask repeatedly, are you trusting the tool or the source? If you are Hindu, watch expecting to be understood, not attacked. If you are Christian, watch expecting to learn how Hindu philosophy actually works, not how to win arguments. If you are neither, watch as an honest inquiry into the biggest questions humans have ever asked. I recommend watching in order. Each video builds on the last. Take notes. Pause when Sanskrit or Hebrew terms appear. They matter. Push back in the comments. Ask hard questions. This series assumes you are intelligent enough to handle the truth, whichever direction it points. That respect for your mind is part of how this conversation works. Video 48 will bring all three diagnoses side by side: avidya, ignorance of divinity; ego, self-centrality; and broken trust, relational rupture with God. Video 49 will show what you gain and what you don't lose by trusting Jesus. Video 50 will pose the final question this entire journey has been building toward. Will you realize yourself or surrender to the one who already knows you? Every video in this series will end with a clear statement of why the inward path carries real danger, and why surrender to the God revealed in Jesus is the path every person must honestly consider. The conclusion will not be vague. It will be an invitation, compassionate, decisive, and open. 50 videos is a serious commitment for you and for me. I didn't create this series to generate clicks or win debates. I created it because I love God, I respect seekers, and I believe the most important question any human being can answer is, where do I look for the source of life, inward or beyond myself? The Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Vedas, and the Bible all take this question seriously. So will we. In the next video, we begin with the framework itself. 2 paths, 1 decision, no names yet. Just the honest logic that every spiritual journey eventually confronts. I am genuinely glad you're here. Let's begin. Here is where this series stands from the very first moment. The path of self-realization tells you to look inward for what you need most. But if the self is part of the problem, that direction is a misdiagnosis that can leave you striving forever without settled peace. Treating yourself as the hidden source of divinity is not liberation. It is the ego's most sophisticated trap. Every person, Hindu, Christian, or seeker of any tradition, must honestly ask whether the answer lies within or beyond the self. I believe the ultimate God is personal, relational, and has revealed himself in Jesus, and that surrender to him is not weakness, but the only path to forgiveness, trust, and restored relationship. The journey starts now. Surrender is waiting.